Thus far we have attempted to draw comparisons between the situation with Yaakov and his 12 sons to that of Moshe Rabbeinu and the smashing of the Luchot, arguing that as there was a dual impact with respect to the Luchot in that God withdrew himself both from the people and also to a certain extent from Moshe Rabbeinu. This was based upon the use of the double expression lech and red, lech physically, red spiritually. So too it was argued that in the case of Yaakov, that just as there was a withdrawal of the Shekhinah, the ability to reveal that which was hidden to the sons, so too there was also a withdrawal of the Shekhinah, the Gilui Elokus, from Yaakov himself. This was read into the phrase Nistalek Mimeno, referring to Yaakov, the Shekhinah. By the same token, we also noted a core difference between the two situations, in that with the smashing of the Luchot, there was an event that took place, namely the creation and the worship of the Egel, that caused a change in circumstances. And on this basis, the change of circumstances affected not only the relationship between the people and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but also impacted upon God's relationship with Moshe Rabbeinu. This was not the case, however, with the desire from Yaakov, Legalot et Aketz, to bring that which was previously hidden into a revealed format, and specifically the Giluyim relating to the Achrit HaYamim. There was no change in circumstances, and as such, it calls into question the rationale that Yaakov had, given the fact that the 12 sons were not yet ready for these Giluyim. Why was it from the very outset that Yaakov took the risk in Legalot et Aketz, given the possibility that not only would there be a negative impact upon his sons, but also upon himself, v'nistalka mimeno, from Yaakov Shekhinah. The Rebbe in the SICHAH will maintain that while all of the above is valid, when one in actuality teases out the details of the events regarding the Shvirat HaLuchot, the smashing of the Luchot, one will be able to draw comparisons between the two situations and thereby justify Yaakov's desire to Legalot et Aketz. But first we will need to revisit the narrative that relates to the Shvirat HaLuchot, recorded in Shmot 32. The final pasuk of Shmot 31 informs us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu presented the Shtei Luchot HaEdut. There were Luchot made of stone, Ketuvim Be'etzba Elokim, written by the finger of God, to Moshe. For the first 6 pasukim of Perek 32, the focus moves to the events that were unfolding in the camp. We have an account of the creation and worship of the Egel HaZahav from 7 to 14. We're told of God's decision to annihilate the Bnei Yisrael and restart the entire process with Moshe as the new patriarch. And finally, in Pasuk 15, we are told that Vayifen Vayered Moshe min hahar. Moshe turns, descends from the mountain, Ushnei Luchot ha'idut biyado, with the 2 Luchot in his hands, although biyado is in the singular. In Shmot 32:7, God instructs Moshe to lech reid, go down to the people, ki shichet amcha, asher helita meretz Mitzrayim, your people that you brought out from the land of Egypt have become corrupt. HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes on to inform Moshe that Saru Maher min haderech asher tzivitim, they have very quickly turned away from the derech, the way of life that I have commanded them, namely monotheism. Asu lahem egel masecha, they have made for themselves a molten calf, and furthermore they have worshipped it. Claiming Ela Ehecha Yisrael, this is the God, O Israel, Asher Helucha Meretz Mitzrayim, that has brought you out from Eretz Mitzrayim. They have replaced Kadosh Baruch Hu with the Egel. And as a consequence, God informs Moshe that he is prepared to annihilate the entire nation and start again. To which Moshe responds that this is not possible because he would be in violation of promises made to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, that 1, the descendants would be as numerous as the stars of the sky, and 2, the descendants would inherit Eretz Yisrael. Annihilation at this point in time would violate these 2 commitments. Vayinachem Hashem al hara'ah, God accepts Moshe's argument, he reverses the owner's decree that he had made, and subsequently Vayifen Vayered Moshe min hahar, Moshe turns, descends from the mountain, along with the Shtei Luchot ha'edut biyado, with the 2 Luchot of testimony in his hand, singular. 2 points come out from this narrative. 1, that Moshe was aware of the events that had taken place in the camp, and 2, The events notwithstanding, HaKadosh Baruch Hu instructs Moshe to bring the Luchot to the people. As Moshe approaches the camp with the Luchot, we are told that Vayaret ha'egel u'mecholot, he sees the egel along with the dancing and enthusiasm that people have for the egel. Vayicharaf Moshe, Moshe becomes exceptionally angry, resulting in Vayashlech miyadav et haluchot. He casts down the Luchot from his hands, plural, Vayishaber otam tachat hahar, smashing them at the foot of the mountain. A problem virtually all the Mefarshi Chumash attempt to resolve is Moshe's interference with God's wishes that Moshe bring the Luchot to the nation. One approach, as suggested by the Yerushalmi, attributed to Rabbi Ezra, that in light of the fact that the Luchot were made of solid stone, were exceptionally large and heavy, and as such one can question the ability of a human being having the strength to carry such a weight, to which he suggests v'hakatav hayasovlan, that the spirituality of the letters miraculously supported the weight of the stone tablets. But as Moshe approached the camp, the spirituality of the Luchot left and descended upwards. In the words of the Yerushalmi, sheparach hakatav, the stone tablets reverted back to their original substance, namely heavy stone. Kavdai al yadav, they became extremely heavy for Moshe to carry. V'naflu v'yishtabru, they fell from his hands and broke. The point of the Yerushalmi is not to explain the smashing of the Luchot, but rather listing one of the 5 things that happened on Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, the day on which the Korban Tamid of the first Beit HaMikdash was formally discontinued. One of the 5 events was the smashing of the Luchot. Hence the Yerushalmi ends with the words Batel HaTamid, the Korban Tamid was Batel, discontinued. This, however, does not address the core issue, that Moshe was certainly aware of the making of the Egel, and as such, why only after descending Har Sinai does he become exceptionally angry to the point where he smashes the Luchot? And the key will lie in the opening words of Pasuk 19, Vayar et ha'egel u'mecholot, that despite knowing about the Egel, the extreme anger on the part of Moshe Rabbeinu resulting in the smashing of the Luchot came about only after there was a face-to-face confrontation with what was happening in the camp. Furthermore, it will be suggested that herein will lie the link between the Egel and the situation with Yaakov, as we attempt to understand why was it that Yaakov, knowing full well that there was a possibility that his sons were not yet ready to receive the revelation from Legalot et Haketz, he nevertheless embarked on a process resulting in the fact that Nistalka mimeno Shechina, not only was there a negative effect upon the sons, but also upon Yaakov himself.